Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to our to our last talk of today, but also of the conference. Tomorrow we will only have workshops left. We just have solved a few technical problems. Thank you very much, Tereza, as a speaker, for inputting so much effort and to solve it. So, I hope that you are still full of energy to be with us. Thank you. I love the audience. And so, let us save some of the applause for our speakers. Thank you. So, I would like to welcome Tereza. Tereza is an accredited leader of 15 years plus of experience and validated expertise in data science and machine learning. Amongst many community contributions, Tereza is a co-organizer of the Pi Ladies in Hamburg group, hosting regular meetups dealing with data, Python, and IoT. She is also a member of the PSF, which is the Python Software Foundation, Code of Conduct and Diversity and Inclusion working groups, and she has been awarded the PSF 2021 Q1 Community Service Award. Recently, she has joined the Committee of Diversity and Inclusion in Scientific Computing, DISC, for a 2-year term. Today, we are delighted to have Tereza with us, sharing her experience and insights gathered from lessons learned when hiring and retaining data professionals. Tereza, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you. So, hi everybody, and thank you for, stay awake so long today. We're all tired. Okay, so a little bit about me was already introduced. Thank you very much. And just my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a head data science and coaching at neuefische bootcamp school in Hamburg and around. Now, you might think that I'm going to give a talk about all the recipes of how you go out there and hire people, but I'm actually going to give a talk where the main actor is the person looking for a job, and if people here are wanting to hire people, they can kind of think about how people looking for jobs are looking for jobs, and then just improve their process, right? Okay, so we all know, we've all worked in data science, data engineering, machine learning, and we know that it's starting all with lots of people want to work as data something, and a lot of companies have a lot of jobs. And then, most of the time, there is a huge mismatch between the expectations of you go there, you do something, and it's not what they want you to do, it's not what you want to do, and then everybody's disappointed. Who has ever been disappointed by a data job they've had? Who has been disappointed by a data hire that they did? Yeah, so, goal mismatch. How we are hiring and how we are interviewing people and how we are going in job interviews, these are not aligned, right? So people looking for jobs versus how companies are hiring, it's like a completely different game. Everybody's playing 2 different games, and it's kind of like a lottery sometimes, right? So the job seeker, like you looking for a job, you want to understand what the role is going to be like. You want to understand if the culture is cool or like your type of culture, how the team is going to be, where would you spend a lot of time with that team. Companies want to find out with minimal effort, right? Do you know those take-me-home challenges as the first part of the job interview process? That is minimal effort. They want to find out if you fit the job, which usually means, are you smart and do you fit the company culture, whatever that is? Because how many companies have a clear definition of company culture? Anybody works in a company with a clear definition of a company culture? 1, 2 people. Yeah, exactly. So, lottery. Okay, so, on the other side, everybody wants employee retention, right? Like, think about it. It's so expensive to hire someone every 6 months. It's so expensive to replace someone. So you need to be able to find out how long are you going to be able to work there? Is this something that you want to work there for long or you want to work there for short, depending on your career level and where you are in your career, right? But you need to know what kind of company you're getting into. How often will you change your colleagues? Sometimes you want to change them often, sometimes not, right? Depends. So let's talk about the process of finding the dream job in data. It usually starts with a lot of job descriptions. You do a lot less interviews, hopefully, and then you go in a job and you find out if you like it or not. Hopefully, not too many jobs need to be tried out, right? How many people discovered after 3 weeks that they would have liked to quit already? It's not what they signed up for. Yeah, it happens, right? It's really late in the interview process, right? If you think about it, you invested so much, and then you find out it doesn't fit. So let's talk about how do we maximize to kind of invest more in the job description process as a candidate into decoding the job description to find out if this is the right place, right? You can do all sorts of research out there, right? You can see job description company site, LinkedIn employees, past, present, blogs, meetups, and you should always think about the missing information. Why is it missing? Is it ignorance or is it indifference? And basically, you usually have to ask yourself, which one can you live with, the ignorance or the indifference, right? These are valid questions to ask in the job interview, trust me. Better to ask there. So today we're going to talk about 4 things and how can you investigate them while you are applying for jobs. What is the team going to be like? What is the role going to be like? What is the culture going to be like? And how is the retention? The team. We often forget that we do spend 30% of our life with that team. So how you choose your wife, how you choose your husband, you don't choose your children, how you choose your, you choose your friends, and then you're not as intentional in how you choose your colleagues. Why are we doing this to ourselves, right? You wonder. Well, so let's go to the job description. There are some scenarios that happen on the job description. Now, you can have the team is not mentioned at all. What can that possibly mean? The team is mentioned as in progress. Well, that's also like what that can possibly mean, or the team is well described, right? So depending on your experience in your data journey, career journey, you might be fine with like the team is not mentioned or building up a team, or you might not be fine with the team not being there already. How do you research? Go on the team profiles, check online, check if they have diversity already in place, They won't all write, we have diversity and we care about diversity, right? What kind of different roles do people in those teams have, right? Are all of them the same data people? Do they have diversity in the backgrounds that they have? Do those people inspire you? So some of us, not everybody, need to work with people that inspire us in order for us to be productive. Who like to be inspired by their colleagues here? Yeah, so investigate that, right? Check, do they do blogs, open source contributions, meetups, conferences, right? You can already meet future possible colleagues by just going to a meetup. Are there any juniors? Now, this is an interesting question. There are so many companies that don't have ever junior role open positions. For me, this is we don't like mentoring people. We don't like working with other people. We just want to work with the most smartest people in the world. That is super intimidating and it's not fitting for everybody. So how many companies here hire juniors? Cool. So turn around, look at each other, and talk to each other. Figure out good questions to ask in the job interviews, like how is mentoring happening? If this is not mentioned in the job description, ask about it, right? How large is the data team? Again, as a junior data person going in a data team of 1 person, it's not the right place to go to. You will have nobody to learn from, right? Let's talk about the role. So, In an ideal role, companies hire people they need, not people they want. How many people here have had a job interview at a company that actually just posted a job posting online, like fresh job, and you didn't actually get it? Sometimes companies actually use the first candidates to research, a little bit, like what kind of people they want. It's not a good time to apply when the job is fresh, Depends on how mature the company is, right? Many companies don't really do the research to figure out what they actually need, right? They want, because they read that data scientists are cool, they don't have data engineering, they don't have data analytics, but they want data scientists. Nice, right? Let me email you on CSV. Okay, so looking at the roles online, what can you find out? You can find that the roles have a lot of bullet points or some bullet points. For me, when I see a job description with a lot of bullet points, and this is everybody who's writing job descriptions out there, be mindful. I actually think that the team that wrote that job description is not mature. They're just putting all the libraries that they've seen out there, hoping they will need something at some point, and let's get people qualified for everything. Yeah? So be specific. Now, this is really sad, but in a Fortune 1000 survey done by Big Data something, 24% of the survey respondents said that they thought their organization was data-driven. That means, 100 minus 24, there is a lot of gap of many companies not being data-driven. So my favorite analogy is when the car was invented. Let's understand a little bit the data landscape, the data companies landscape. So there was a long time ago, the cars were invented, and we had in the cities, we had cars and carriages. It's like here today, we have people working with fancy data tools, or I don't want to say anything bad about Excel, so I will say CSV, okay? And there was a lot of time where people with horses were going on the streets and people with cars were going on the streets at the same time. The people with cars couldn't go too fast because they were like horses. But on the other side, there were people that bought cars just because it was popular to have a car. And they kept the cars in the garage. And my colleagues said, there are also people back then that didn't believe that cars were going to be something for the future, and that was actually a German emperor, and apparently also the last emperor. So, be mindful about not believing in progress, yeah? Progress happens with or without you. But there are a lot of companies out there that they want to do data, machine learning, and AI for the wrong reasons, just because it's popular, but they are not at that stage yet. And it's really good to find out if this company you're applying for is at that stage. So let's see. I kind of broke companies down in like 3 types. Company can be before data. In your job interview, or on the website, you will see stuff like data is the new oil. There are still companies that say that, let's not be naive. Or you are our first data scientist. I mean, not everybody wants to be the first data scientist in a company that doesn't have any data platform, right? And they will also have expectations that data science is magic, there are immediate results, and all problems can be solved with AI. And here in this company's decisions are going to be made by gut feeling, no support from upper management for doing anything data-driven, and reporting and data flows are still manual. Now, this is not a bad job to have, but it's good to know what you're getting yourself into, right? So you will be assisting in reporting or doing all the reporting, so see no data science, if you would be like interested in machine learning and stuff. You will work a lot at convincing people that data needs to be tracked, collected, analyzed. And most of your effort is going to be spent in politics and educating. So at this level, a company actually needs stuff like business intelligence and data engineering. Let's go the next company. The next company, which is like a huge majority of the companies, I think, in Germany, is like companies that like data. They say stuff like, we want to be data-driven, but they're not yet, right? It's a different between wanting to be something and being. I also want to be a unicorn. You know, everybody says it's cool to be a unicorn. Anyway, so data science is still magic in these companies. The immediate results are still kind of expected and like on-demand improvements. And there's still like a lack of company-wide data culture. And some decisions are going to be based on data insights in some teams, but not really, you know, when it matters all the time. And there will be a solid data infrastructure, right? So at this company already you will have like data engineering in place and stuff like that. So you will do some data science, but that data science will still need a lot of politics, and you'll still need to be convincing people that they have to trust your team, that you can deliver something, that you're not firing other people in the company if you're doing cool stuff, right? So, and you are going to have to do a lot of upper management data literacy training, which is also fun if you enjoy that stuff and you're ready for it, right? Now, the next step, you can have the companies that are data-driven, you know, they publish stuff, they talk about their data in blogs and whatnot, and data is at the core of their product, and still data literacy, it is, let's say 50% of the company has it. Not everybody can be data literate, right? And decisions are based mostly on data insights, but, you know, so every company wants to get there someday, right? Now, you will be, so I have never worked in a data-driven company, I'm sad to say, like not this kind of data-driven. I worked in like in-betweens, right? So you want to be, you here will build data products and work with a team and advance state-of-the-art research and, you know, advocate stuff and doing data science and much more. Now, if you as a data person want to avoid politics at work, the newsflash is that is mostly unavoidable. And I mean politics, like advocating for why you should be doing this model and working on this project, why it will bring value. You know, you have to prove this though. Nobody's just gonna say, oh, you look pretty, I'm pretty sure whatever you're gonna work on is going to be super valuable. That doesn't exist, okay? So 25% of decision makers, that's like people you work for, only 25% are data literate. So for the other 75%, you have to break it down into like, you know, that's what I'm building, that's gonna be the value, that's gonna be the impact, that's gonna be the impact when it's not working. Can you pay for that? Can you not, right? So you can kind of find out where in this data journey a company is by asking questions on how long has this company been operating before you started implementing data stuff. If they say we had like 9 years operating and then we decided to do data, then you know where you are, right? They're not data-driven yet, they're like construction site. Okay, let's talk about culture. Lack of culture fit leads to stress and can take a lot of your work time to deal with. That means instead of focusing on advancing your technical skills, you're going to focus on fixing the culture and dealing with paying your psychiatrist to help you deal with the culture, right? So if you're at the age and time in your career where you should be focusing on your career skills, this is a waste of time dealing with the culture. So find out about the culture, it's important. Figure out, is the company competitive or collaborative? Do they do volunteering? And I don't mean, volunteering doesn't mean donating money, right? Volunteering means actually volunteering. Flexibility. Do you need flexibility? You know, like some people need flexibility. Not everybody can work 9 to 5. How can you find stuff out? Well, are the job descriptions using an inclusive language or not? There are tools out there, you can copy-paste the job description and they do a gender decoding and it tells you if they have like mainly men words or women words and so on. And then you can understand why some jobs seem off-putting because they don't have inclusive language. You might have like ableism involved in your text. You might have ageism, you know, like we want young people. I asked once, somebody said, hey, I have this internship. And I asked, do you also hire a bit older? No, just young people. Thank you. I will not advertise your job posting in my network, right? So, and it is known that listings with gender-neutral wording get 42% more responses. So, not hard to fix. The list of skills, the requirements are all marked as important. Too many bullet points actually mean that the hiring process is rigid, right? Women will be less likely to apply. No, and there is an urban myth that women don't apply because they know less and they feel insecure, and that is not true. Yeah, so it has been debunked. We don't apply because it feels like it's rigid and it's not worth the effort to go through all the hoops, and the hoops with the fire ring, you have to jump and not burn your hair, Not everybody has been to the circus when they grew up. Okay. Job description. One way to improve the job description is to actually talk about performance objectives. It's not really hard, but which kind of job would you be applying for? A job that says that you need to have a PhD plus 3 years experience, or a job that says in your first 6 months you need to improve 3 of our machine learning models? Who here can get a PhD plus 3 years job experience in 6 months? Right? So, fix your job descriptions. Think about what the hell do you want from those people that come work for you, not what they should be. Okay, the equal employment opportunity statement. Again, does this exist on the job description? And if it doesn't exist, why doesn't it exist? Indifference, ignorance? And when it exists, is it generic or is it personalized? Apparently, jobs with an equal employment opportunity feel 6% faster. I didn't invent the numbers. All the links at the end of the talk. Now, the salary. Now, this is a huge mismatch between what people want to see and what companies want to show. Only 1% of the companies show the salary, whereas 74% of people would love to see the salary. Why wait until a very extensive interview process to find out the salary that you're like, actually we want to pay you 30,000 euros for a senior developer role? Okay. So put it on because for 60% of the people who filled in this survey, salary matters. So they will say no to the job if the salary doesn't fit. Now, whenever I don't see a salary, it can be okay, they didn't put it, that's one reason, but it can also mean that they have actually imbalance in their salaries. They have gaps in their salary, the way they compensate. So it's red flags for me, right? Now, let's talk about retention. A lot of companies are trying to eliminate turnover, and that doesn't work out. People go, the market is rich of data people, companies change. So what do companies do? So you can fight it or you can embrace it. Now, some questions that you need to ask about yourself, how long can you stay at a company when you see that company description, is to ask yourself, is it going to get boring, right? Apparently, according to the Kaggle survey they did with data scientists, so if you only want to use advanced machine learning algorithms, then this is likely to happen in small companies. So don't apply at large companies if you want to work with shiny toys, right? But then you have to make a choice between stability and interestingness. A lot of people got laid off lately in Berlin at interesting jobs. So you have to decide, can you afford an interesting job or you need a stable one for now? On the other side, you have the mission. What is the company's mission? Well, some companies are also wondering what is their company mission, but for the ones that know, for the employees, how many people here need to feel aligned with the company mission to stay motivated for more than 2 months? Exactly, find out the mission. Of course, it's a red flag if the company doesn't know the mission. But if you're at an early stage in your career, you might be not caring so much about the mission because you might have to, be paid, consider yourself as you're paid to learn. So maybe the mission, is now not the company's mission, it's your mission. You're learning, you're improving your CV, and that's it. And there are a lot of companies that are, monetizing this, right? Now, career transparency, this is also one reason why turnover in data jobs is quite high, lack of career transparency. So how do people get promoted? Is learning part of work? I mean, in data, you have to learn all the time. There's a new tool coming out every day, right? So if learning is something that you should be doing at home, that's not cool, right? Do people change tracks often internally? Are there career pipelines? So apparently, the average performance pay raise that a person gets while they stay in a company is like 3%. That's like before the current inflation, of course. But changing jobs leads you on average to get a 14.8 pay raise. And on the other side, it takes on average 6 to 9 months of salary to replace a good employee. So why are companies just not doing better pay raises then, if it's so expensive to replace someone? Anyway, these are things you can also ask in the job interview. Of course, if they act totally offended when you ask these questions, then it's also a red flag, right? So companies should, be prepared for such questions. And talking about resilience, you've heard a lot of talks about like data. Working with data is not a one-man show. It's not like just doing machine learning. It's also about working in a larger team in the bigger scope of the whole company. So you can ask this, is the data team in the company working as a silo or is like cross-functional? How do you interact with other teams, right? So how often did the structure of the team change? Stuff to ask in the job interview. Who decides when the team changes, right? Is it like the team decides or the C-level decides? And remember that success of working with data is like at the intersection between you have data, science, engineering, product, UX, business strategy. So you have to kind of have people from all over the place to create a resilient data department. Okay, so back to the job description, think about it. Also for the companies, whenever you're missing out, you don't put information out there, you let it up to interpretation. Is it ignorance or is it indifference? And you and the people reading the job descriptions are deciding whether they can live with ignorance or with indifference. And if you find a job where you say one of these little bubbles is perfect, or 3 of the bubbles are perfect and 1 of them is not, but you can live with it, they're all connected, right? So there is no something is not so perfect. It's going to affect the rest, so be very mindful about that. So, coming back to it all, why do we actually need to do all this work? Why do we need to decode job descriptions? This is indeed just dealing with a broken system of the hiring process. People don't put enough effort in the job descriptions. People don't put enough effort in defining their company's mission and like how they want to hire for what. And we are just like kind of like dealing with like how to navigate this. But ideally that shouldn't be needed, right? You should just figure out if the role is nice for you. So this is my career life coach. Everybody should have a life coach at some point in their lives, but just anyway. So she's saying we are still interviewing for filling in chairs rather than interviewing people to participate in a team and achieve company goals. So if you want to fix how you find people, think about what are the company goals, what are the teams that you want to build up around those, and what are the people that are missing in those teams. And then define the job description. Not because you read the Medium article about cool data science. Yeah? Okay, so you can follow me on Twitter. You can read the book that I'm currently reading. It's really nice. I can totally recommend. It's a little bit old, but it's gold, right? Thinking in Systems by Donella Meadows. And she actually has here a quote that fits. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tereza. It was really insightful and many, many points I can only resonate. Let us first let the audience speak. Any questions, comments, feedback? You can be brave. I know it's late, but still. Coffee? Not yet? Well, I'll have a first question. Help them waking up, hopefully. You also mentioned that as a candidate, potential candidate, they should be aware of what they want, if they fit into the culture and so on, right? However, I have observed many times, even myself back then when I was still quite junior and also other juniors, they come out of university, maybe some first internships and practicum, you can name them all, and they really don't know themselves yet. We were never taught in school who we are, how we are, what we need. And when they start to interview for their first job, they also don't know what to look for because they don't even know what they need. And this is it's quite a challenging job to find it out first, right? And often I realize that people, or even myself, only after first, second job is like, this is who I am. Do you have any other suggestions that people don't need first to try out 3 jobs, just then say, okay, that's not me, let's change it again?
Yeah, that is a very, very good question and comment. So I think, so there's the possibilities to do internships for companies that advertise their internship publicly and not just through their networking. There are exercises to kind of like draw up what is my ideal job, what I would do at work. And also, I think most of the people at the beginning of their career, they need to be working in a team. So applying for companies that don't have teams, or they have like a very like one person, if that person is inspiring online, can still, because you're still forming, right? So it doesn't have to be set in stone, like what you decide that you want to do. It's more about discovering. So, yeah, that's.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tereza, for your talk. I agree with all the things that are broken, if you would prioritize, like, which of the issues you mentioned is the worst one? What should we start fixing?
I mean, let's assume that you can fix the company culture and you are aware that you have a problem in the company culture. So if you have a problem in the company culture, like everything else is like broken, right? There's like, you can like wrap it up in nice Christmas present paper, it still doesn't make it Christmas, right? If it's Easter, I mean. So, yeah, I would say the company culture. And if you fix that, then the other stuff, people in the company itself starts becoming intentional about stuff they do. And yeah, they believe in that stuff, so, and then the rest follows.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Tereza, for your inspiring talk and also for answering our questions. I know that there's still follow-up questions, but please connect with Tereza and follow up with her afterwards. Big thank you again.
Thank you also.
So before we end the day today, just 2 last things. The first one is, please check the Friday schedule such that you know where you want to be at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So there are workshops in the morning sessions and afternoon sessions, different locations. Make sure you're there where you actually want to be. And second, tonight we have the networking session at Get Your Guide, right? There will be also panel discussion. The doors will be open from 6 p.m. on, and the panel discussion will start from 7 p.m. on. So panel discussion will be from 7 to 8 p.m. and afterwards networking time. Anybody who does not know where Get Your Guide is, please raise your hand. Then I will get Google Maps and then project it on the screen. Okay? Cool. Exactly. So we can do it actually. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye.